Have you ever wished you could multiply your favorite plants without spending a fortune? Imagine snipping a healthy stem, giving it a little help, and watching it flourish into a whole new plant. That's the magic of plant propagation, and rooting hormones are your secret weapon. These wonder substances boost your gardening game by encouraging root development in cuttings. With the right tools and knowledge, you'll be well on your way to expanding your garden with healthy clones of your favorite plants. While commercial rooting hormones are readily available, there's a certain satisfaction that comes from making your own using simple, natural ingredients. Honey, for example, is a powerful antibacterial agent that also contains enzymes that can stimulate root growth. Willow water made by soaking willow branches in water is another fantastic option. Even apple cider vinegar, a staple in many kitchens, contains trace amounts of nutrients that can be beneficial for root growth. Get ready to unlock the secrets of natural plant propagation and watch your garden flourish. Honey, a golden elixir produced by bees, is not just a natural sweetener but also a potent rooting hormone. Its thick, syrupy texture creates a protective coating around the cut end of the stem. Honey's natural antibacterial and antifungal properties make it an excellent choice for safeguarding delicate plant cuttings. Beyond its protective qualities, honey is a rich source of enzymes and nutrients that can stimulate root growth. To create your own honey-based rooting hormone, start by boiling 1 cup of water. Once the water comes to a rolling boil, carefully remove it from the heat and allow it to cool slightly. While the water is still warm, add 1 teaspoon of honey to the pot and stir gently until dissolved. Willow trees, with their graceful branches and affinity for water, hold a secret. They are natural sources of rooting hormones. When willow branches are soaked in water, they release salicylic acid, creating a potent rooting solution known as willow water. To harness the power of willow water, gather a handful of fresh willow branches. Cut the branches into small pieces, about 2 to 3 inches long, and crush them lightly to expose more of their inner tissue. Place the crushed willow branches in a clean glass jar, fill it with water, and let it steep in a sunny location for at least 24 hours. Apple cider vinegar, a pantry staple known for its culinary and medicinal uses, also possesses surprising benefits for the plant world. To make an apple cider vinegar rooting solution, simply add 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar to 1 cup of water. Stir well to ensure the vinegar is evenly distributed, and use this solution as a quick dip for your cuttings just before planting. Now that you've brewed your own batch of homemade rooting hormone, it's time to learn the art of applying it effectively. Using a clean, sharp knife or pair of pruning shears, make a fresh cut just below a leaf node. Once you've made the cut, dip the end of the cutting directly into your chosen rooting hormone. Avoid dipping the cutting too deep into the solution, as this can suffocate the stem and hinder root development. After dipping, allow any excess rooting hormone to drip off before planting the cutting in a suitable rooting medium. Remember, the rooting hormone is just a catalyst. Providing the right environment for your cutting is equally important for successful propagation. While a quick dip is often sufficient for many plants, some species benefit from a more extended exposure to rooting hormone. Soaking is particularly beneficial for woody stems or cuttings from plants that are known to be difficult to root. Gently place your cuttings in the solution, making sure they are not overcrowded. Cover the container loosely with plastic wrap or a lid to prevent evaporation and maintain a humid environment. Observe your cuttings closely for signs of root development, and transplant them to a suitable rooting medium once you see small bumps or protrusions forming on the submerged portion of the stem. After applying your homemade rooting hormone, it's time to give your cuttings the best possible start in life by planting them with purpose. A well-draining rooting mix is essential to prevent the cuttings from rotting before they have a chance to establish roots. When planting your cuttings, make sure the cut end is inserted into the rooting medium at an appropriate depth. After planting, water the cuttings thoroughly, being careful not to dislodge them. Place the pot in a warm, bright location but out of direct sunlight, as intense sunlight can scorch the delicate cuttings. Just like we experience different seasons, plants have their internal clocks and rhythms too. In general, the best time to take cuttings and use rooting hormones is during the plant's active growing season. This is typically in spring or early summer when days are longer and temperatures are milder. Before you start snipping away at your favorite plants, do a little research to determine the best time to take cuttings for that particular species. While spring and early summer are generally considered prime time for propagation, there are exceptions to every rule. For instance, softwood cuttings, taken from the soft, flexible new growth of deciduous trees and shrubs, are best taken in late spring or early summer. Hardwood cuttings, on the other hand, are taken from dormant, mature stems of deciduous trees and shrubs during late fall or winter. By paying attention to the type of cutting you are taking and adjusting your timing accordingly, you can work in harmony with your plant's natural rhythms and maximize their rooting potential. While rooting hormones can significantly speed up the propagation process, it's important to remember that patience is still a virtue when it comes to growing new plants from cuttings. Rooting times can vary depending on the plant species, the type of cutting, the environmental conditions, and even the individual plant's vigor. Some cuttings may show signs of root development within a few weeks, while others may take several months to root. Regularly monitor your cuttings for signs of growth, such as new leaves or shoots. By exercising patience and providing the right conditions, you can enjoy the satisfaction of watching your cuttings transform into thriving new plants, adding to the beauty and bounty of your garden. Section 1. Revival Remedies. As any plant enthusiast knows, witnessing a once thriving plant wither and droop due to lack of water can be disheartening. The leaves shrivel, the stems lose their vigor, and the entire plant seems to plead for a life-giving drink. In such moments, it's tempting to reach for any solution that promises a miraculous revival, including homemade rooting hormones. While rooting hormones are undoubtedly valuable allies in the realm of plant propagation, their ability to revive severely dried-up plants is a topic often shrouded in misconception. It's important to understand that rooting hormones are designed to stimulate root development in healthy plant tissue, not to resurrect those on the brink of demise. When a plant suffers from severe dehydration, its internal systems are compromised. The cells, responsible for transporting water and nutrients throughout the plant, become damaged, hindering their ability to function properly. Even if new roots were to emerge with the help of rooting hormones, the plant's ability to absorb and utilize water may be severely impaired. Think of it this way: rooting hormones are like jump-starting a car with a dead battery. While they might provide the initial spark, if the engine itself is damaged, the car won't run. Similarly, if a plant's internal mechanisms are severely compromised due to dehydration, simply stimulating root growth might not be enough to save it. Section 2. A helping hand, not a miracle cure. While rooting hormones might not be a magical elixir for reviving severely dried-up plants, they can offer a helping hand in certain situations. If a plant is showing early signs of dehydration, such as wilting leaves or slightly dry soil, using a rooting hormone in conjunction with proper watering techniques can potentially aid in its recovery. In these cases, the plant's internal systems are not yet irreversibly damaged, and providing the right conditions for root growth can help the plant re-establish its water uptake capabilities. The rooting hormone can encourage the development of new roots, which can then begin to absorb water and nutrients more efficiently. However, it's crucial to emphasize that rooting hormones should not be viewed as a substitute for proper watering practices. The most effective way to prevent dehydration and ensure your plants thrive is to provide them with adequate water consistently. Observe your plants regularly for signs of thirst, such as wilting leaves, dry soil, or slow growth. Water deeply and thoroughly, ensuring the entire root system is moistened. The frequency of watering will vary depending on the plant species, pot size, environmental conditions, and the time of year. Sadly, there comes a point when a plant's dehydration becomes too severe to reverse. Recognizing the signs of a plant beyond saving can spare you from unnecessary disappointment. One of the most telling signs is the condition of the plant's stems. If the stems are brittle and snap easily, it's often an indication that the plant's vascular system is too damaged to recover. Extensive leaf drop, especially if the leaves are dry and crispy, suggests the plant is struggling. If you suspect your plant is beyond saving, gently remove it from its pot and inspect the roots. Mushy, black roots with a foul odor indicate root rot. Recognizing the point of no return helps you make informed decisions and prevent disease spread. Congratulations on brewing your very own batch of homemade rooting hormone. You've unlocked a natural and effective way to multiply your plant collection. Now let's ensure your concoctions retain their potency and remain viable for future propagation endeavors. Proper storage is key to maximizing the lifespan of your homemade rooting hormones. Honey-based solutions, with their naturally antibacterial properties, boast a relatively long shelf life. Store your honey rooting hormone in an airtight container, such as a glass jar with a tight-fitting lid, to prevent contamination and evaporation. A cool, dark place like your pantry or refrigerator provides the ideal environment to preserve its effectiveness. Properly stored honey rooting hormone can last for several months, ready to give your cuttings a rooting boost whenever needed. Willow water, while incredibly potent, tends to have a shorter shelf life compared to honey-based solutions. You can extend its freshness by storing it in the refrigerator for up to a week. However, it's generally best to use willow water within a few days of preparation for optimal potency. If you notice any signs of mold or an unpleasant odor, discard the solution and brew a fresh batch. Apple cider vinegar rooting solution, being the mildest of the three, can be stored at room temperature in an airtight container for up to a week. However, for best results, it's recommended to use a freshly prepared solution each time you're ready to propagate your plants. When it comes to using rooting hormones, whether store-bought or homemade, a common question arises: how often should I apply them, and how much is too much? While rooting hormones offer a helping hand, it's essential to remember that more isn't always better. Think of rooting hormones as a gentle nudge, not a forceful shove. Overuse can actually hinder root development by overwhelming the plant's natural processes. A general rule of thumb is to apply rooting hormone only once to each cutting, focusing on the cut end where root formation will occur. Dipping the cutting once into your chosen solution or dusting it lightly with rooting powder is usually sufficient. Avoid the temptation to re-dip or reapply, as this can lead to an excessive concentration of hormones, potentially inhibiting rather than promoting root growth. Remember, the key to successful propagation lies in finding the right balance. Provide your cuttings with a suitable rooting medium, adequate moisture, and a humid environment, and allow the rooting hormone to work its magic without interference. Observing your cuttings closely will provide valuable insights into their progress. If you notice signs of root development, such as small bumps or protrusions on the stem, it's a clear indication that the rooting hormone is doing its job, and no further application is necessary. While rooting hormones play a crucial role in plant propagation, they are just one piece of the puzzle. Sanitation is paramount. Wash your hands and sterilize tools. Use rubbing alcohol or a bleach solution. Choose a well-draining rooting medium like peat moss and perlite. Maintain consistent moisture levels. Create a humid microclimate with a plastic bag or dome. Place cuttings in a warm, bright location, out of direct sunlight. Combine rooting hormones with sound horticultural practices. You'll cultivate a thriving garden filled with vibrant plants. As we've explored, plant propagation doesn't have to be a daunting task reserved for expert gardeners. With a dash of creativity and readily available ingredients, you can whip up your own effective rooting hormones, unlocking a world of possibilities for expanding your garden. Whether you're drawn to the sweetness of honey, the ancient wisdom of willow water, or the simple effectiveness of apple cider vinegar, there's a natural solution waiting to be discovered. Remember, the journey of plant propagation is as rewarding as the destination. It's about nurturing new life, witnessing the resilience of nature, and experiencing the joy of watching a tiny cutting transform into a thriving plant. So, gather your ingredients, embrace the spirit of experimentation, and embark on your own rooting adventure. Your garden, brimming with new life propagated from your own two hands, will be a testament to the power of simple natural solutions. And as you share your newfound knowledge and extra plants with fellow garden enthusiasts, you'll be spreading the joy of homegrown abundance far and wide. Happy rooting!